Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Short Pit, a NASCAR podcast. I'm your host, Kaleb and Chris. Alongside me, as usual, is my co-host, Chris Prince. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. How about you?
Just fine and dandy. Another day in the life for us in the podcast chair. Daytona 500, the 2026 Daytona 500 is over. Tyler Reddick, your winner down there in Daytona Beach. Who would have saw that coming after the year he had last year? Bolting it all the way to first place, getting 2311's second crown jewel win in the last couple of years. Obviously, Bubba got the Brickyard last year, so off to a hot start for them for sure. We'll review that first and foremost. We'll get into some of the other stuff. We had some Truck Series notes that we want to talk about. We got some. We have some thoughts on fuel saving super speedways. Junior maybe coming back for the 500, maybe something, and anything else that comes across. But first things first, let's just talk about the Daytona 500 last week. As we said, Tyler Reddick, your winner. Just a big time moment for that 45 team. Big time moment for that team after the offseason they had with the lawsuit. Denny Hamlin's obviously offseason being as tragic as it was. Yeah, what are the vibes about Tyler Reddick being your 2026 Daytona 500 winner?
You hit it on the head. Not expected. I don't think anybody expected Tyler Reddick to be there. This style of racing is not really his thing, so you don't think about him much when you go to these big tracks. I mean, he did have the one win at Talladega, but I feel like a lot of people would be in agreement. He got lucky there. Even himself was like, I didn't think we were going to win this one, but he made a good move. He had his teammate behind him to give him the push he needed. But I mean, I think it's good for Tyler. It's also good publicity again for the sport because you've got the owner like Michael Jordan, like you just said. I've seen more on ESPN this week about NASCAR. I feel like than I've seen since ESPN lost their mind.
For some things good, some things not so good. Obviously,
Yeah,
MJ got into a little bit of heat as far as his celebration with Reddick's kid. I'll take his word for it that it wasn't
yeah,
weird, and we'll
yeah.
go
I
from
mean, he's a
there.
he's a grandpa, so I'm just gonna take it that it wasn't weird. You know what I mean? Like it was just one of those things that you see, and I can understand, but maybe there was something there to it. Tyler's not worried about it, so I'm gonna take the dad's word.
If anybody was to be worried about it, you know.
That's right.
But yeah, some other notable things from that race. You got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Getting his runner-up, Joey Logano third, Chase Elliott fourth, was just a straightaway away from bringing that thing home. Brad Keselowski fifth. That rounds out your top five. Buescher had a good finish. Zane Smith had a really good finish. Herbst had a really good day right up until the end. Some notable DNFs. Bowman 40th with that accident. I believe he was at the end of stage two.
Yeah.
Maybe he made it to
Not near the end of
123
it.
laps. Took out Todd Gilliland and the 40 along with him of Justin Allgaier, Briscoe, Bell, Cindric. A lot of big hitters taken out early. But yeah, race overall solid for a Daytona 500.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I think it was a solid overall race. I think we'll into the fuel saving in a minute. I think that was your big glaring issue with it because it did. Well, I mean, a lot of it was talk of after the race. You know, you had Blaney after his wreck saying he didn't think it was right. There was a lot of just talk around the fuel saving and mainly how the Toyotas just went three wide and
Well, we
blocked
can
the whole
jump right
field.
into that. The fuel saving.
Yeah,
Um, for most of that stage three, at the beginning of it, just Toyota's lined up three wide, just holding it back, holding down the fort.
yeah.
Um, and there's been a lot of talk about, well, how do you fix that? Because if the Fords were up front, they'd be doing the same thing. If the Chevys were up front, they'd be doing the same thing. They all tell you that they wouldn't, and that they were really frustrated by it. But best believe those crew chiefs are going to tell them to save fuel when they're running up front.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, have you seen any good ideas about how to fix it? Like I've had some thoughts, like, oh, maybe you get rid of the stage breaks and you just keep it running after the stage is over. Would that fix something?
That's
Um,
logical. I think that's a really
have
logical
you heard
fix.
anything as far as like, oh, this will work. This could be a good idea. Have you read anything on NASCAR? Has Brad Keselowski come up with an idea? I know he's full of those.
Yeah, no, I think Brad's more worried about getting Max Verstappen to come over here and drive one of their RFK cars after his comments during the 500. But I'm a lot with Denny, I think, and Junior. They've said it before. Like down the drag is the biggest problem because I shouldn't say the biggest problem. It's the more addressable problem due to safety and things like that. I feel like um, the cars handle so well. They're so tucked to the racetrack that they handle so well in those groups that there's no distinction between a good handling race car and a bad handling race car, like there used to be in a sense. Like you would see them bouncing all over the track. Handling actually mattered. I think we're in the right direction because you heard people talk about the tires mattering. Like Zilich said, he felt the difference between new and old tires. I just think that they've got too much drag on them with the big spoiler. It's one of the biggest spoilers they've ever ran. I think that or the stage break would be a logical way to fix it. The other would be kind of along the same ways of the drag. You're going to have to find out a way to increase the speed. That kind of comes with the drag, but I don't know how much they're going to go up on that because of the safety concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So I think stage breaks would be quicker personally because NASCAR is going to want to test a smaller spoiler and they're going to want to make sure they have plenty of research to back what they do there. So, but I would like to see a smaller spoiler. I'd like to see the cars bouncing around more, being harder to handle, not just tucked up up under each other, running for laps at a time. But I'm with you. I don't think any manufacturer would have handled that any different. If it's Chevrolet's up front, they're all going to hold the line as long as they can. Same with Toyotas and Fords. So, I mean, it's part of it. I'm just worried that it's part of it we're not going to get away from for a little while at least.
Yeah. All right, what else do we have on the docket here? The truck race was rather interesting, don't you think?
Yeah.
4 wide finish at the end.
I enjoyed the truck race overall. I mean, it stunk seeing like the big names we talked about, like Cleetus and Tony, go out when they did, but the racing genuinely was a little cleaner than I think I expected it to be for a truck race. And then the finish took a turn coming out of like turn 4 again, like the Cup Series race much did, that I wasn't expecting. But again, two manufacturer teammates, I should say, stuck together and worked, and they wound up getting them in the victory lane. So Chandler Smith, Georgia boy, he's actually closer to me, about as closest to me as Chase Elliott is. He lives in Talking Rock. So pretty cool relation there. But the big thing with the truck race was, and I'm interested to hear your opinion on this. I'm not as familiar with him, and I take it you're probably not as either, like YouTube personality-wise. But a lot of people have been giving Cleetus crap this week.
As far as what?
Not being deserving enough to have the seat. Yeah, so a lot of the conversation I've read has been just because you have money doesn't mean you can drive. I think a lot of it
comes fair.
Exactly, fair, because we have other arguments where that's valid, right?
The Xfinity race.
Yeah. This week's argument comes from Natalie Decker in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, I feel like.
Oh, I said Xfinity. God damn it.
Yeah, it happens. It's one of those things. I think that there's a little too much criticism given to Cleetus. Like, the dude's never been in a truck before. I do think that maybe he should have had some testing at Daytona or something just to give him some time because practice wasn't sufficient enough, and even Tony said that. What do you feel like Cleetus's place could be in this sport? Is he a mouthpiece? Could he be like a competitive driver, maybe not a championship driver? And how do you feel about him as a newer fan? Because I can tell you, I like his personality. I think the character is good to have around. But
I'm perfectly good with Cleetus in the truck series. I think that when you take things seriously and you give it all you got and you really take to the craft, I am more than happy and willing to see guys like that get a shot. I don't think it's just money with Cleetus. I don't think he's a Nepo baby by any means. I think he really takes it seriously. I think he really wants to get into it. He talks to everybody up and down the garage. He's really just into what NASCAR is and into what's going on. I mean, he raced in ARCA too. He certainly got some level of experience. He's obviously got the sponsorship, which is also important. But I'm more into that. Like, if you're gonna take something seriously and give it all you got, I'm more than willing to give guys a shot. And me and you are pro wrestling guys. I don't think either of us were really all that mad when Logan Paul showed up in WWE, and he was fun. When Jelly Roll did the spot at SummerSlam a couple of probably last summer, was it?
Yeah.
And, he wasn't a pro wrestler by any means, but he took it seriously, and he wasn't an embarrassment. It wasn't just one of these celebrity runs. And Cleetus didn't cause a giant wreck that just screwed everything.
Yeah.
It's just a racing incident. He looked like he belonged for however many laps that he was out there. It wasn't long, but I don't have a problem with Cleetus whatsoever.
I'm kind of in that same thought process, and I think a lot of people, well, at least the people I've read, like they're giving him grief, but they're also in that same line, like, hey, he showed he cared. He got out of that truck, and in his interview, he was like, I was hoping to do something for Talladega, but I just wrecked their truck on lap 6, so I don't know if that's going to work. Like, he has 4 top 10s in the ARCA and on the limited races he won, so I'm with you. He's got the experience. He cares. I think he's doing it for the right reason.
That's the most important part. You're not just doing it for your brand. You're not just doing it to do it. He wants to take it seriously and not be an embarrassment.
I think exactly. He's taking it seriously. He wants to be a good, like, public figure for the sport too. You notice the dude's like jumped into everything he can now. He was in that new NASCAR commercial with Carson Hocevar in that Dale Earnhardt truck, just screaming out the window just as a mouthpiece. Like, you got to have mouthpieces too, but I think Cleetus is more than that. I think he genuinely cares about the craft and learning. So I think it'll be fun to see if he gets another truck start, but I don't know like what the likelihood of that is right now after all this.
And then we can talk about Tony Stewart. Obviously wasn't the showing that he wanted to have in his first race back. Got caught up in a wreck pretty early, but it looked like he was having fun out there. It looked like he was into it, and he certainly didn't close the door on a future return being in the cards in that 25 Ram. So any thoughts on, would you want to see Smoke continue on?
I would. Yeah, I think I'd like to see him get another shot in that truck. I think he was having some fun. And when I watched, you could tell, like you said, he didn't shut the door completely on it in that interview after he got out of the care center. He was like, I think the truck was just starting to come in. I was starting to get a good feel for it. We were having some fun. He was like, I would have liked to have more time in the seat. And I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing there, Smoke. But it's also one of the most watched truck series races since 2016. Is that the Smoke effect? Is it Travis Pastrana or Cleetus? I don't know.
Maybe the trucks are just putting on good product.
That's right. So I think that was cool to see. Depending on like what Ram and NASCAR want to do, they see that personality helped their viewership. So I think I'd be willing to mend some fences there if I'm NASCAR. They've been on the road to recovery since the off season, it feels like. So maybe mend some fences with Smoke and get him back on a more occasional basis. I'd like it.
For sure. And it was a great race. It was really solid.
But you don't hear about truck races. Like, let's be honest. Like, they're more shit shows than...
No, and like, one of our frequent guests is going to come up probably during the summer is our guy Stokes, and he loves that truck series. So we'll be paying attention a little bit more, if not just for his sake. But yeah, let's get into another like legend name coming up in the comments below and all over TikTok, making waves on the socials. I don't know if you got Dale Jr. download this week, but Jr. was talking about he was watching the Xfinity race with his wife or whatever, or he was like in bed the night before, and he was talking to his wife, and she goes, "Yeah, maybe you should just race it next year." And Junior goes, "Excuse me?
What? You said what?"
The number 40 car, the Junior Motorsports Open entry, has been run by Justin Allgaier the last 2 years. So, and obviously they put together a top 10 last year. Yeah. This year, obviously, they had the wreck with Denny Hamlin. It was racing, aggressive, and stuff happens. It took out my favorite driver. I'm not too butthurt about it. I was butthurt, but like, I'm not gonna freak out. But Junior back in the Cup Series,
yes,
doing a one-off at Daytona 2027. That's Jimmy Johnson's last race he's announced, like,
just hook the old guys up and send them to victory lane one last time if it's going to happen at this point. One of them needs to be in victory lane if they're both going out to race Daytona. I think it would be equivalent to, I know it's a little different, right, because of free agency, things like that, but it would be like, Lord forbid, Drake May got hurt in the AFC Championship game and Tom Brady
you
walked
shut
out.
your mouth.
Yeah. Tom Brady walked out, though, for the Super Bowl, to play for the Pats. It would have been one of those things like everybody's immediately going to be engaged. He's recognizable. I mean, whether he's got the championships or not, he's one of the most popular drivers in the history of the sport with his dad and others.
Could maybe be the most popular driver.
That's very true.
Like, listen, I know Chase Elliott's got just as many most popular driver titles as Junior, or at least as close.
Yeah.
Does Chase Elliott really have his finger on the pulse of NASCAR fans like Junior does?
No. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be the most popular driver next to his dad. I mean, you could go back and some of the olders are going to be like, oh, Richard Petty and stuff. And listen, I wasn't around 100 years ago. I'm sorry. I don't know how great or not great Richard was, so I'm going to go with what I know.
Yeah, like, Johnny Unitas was the man back in the 60s.
Exactly. I loved watching him play. I mean, it's one of those things where we all have different opinions on who is great for our sport, but I think Junior as a collective, he would be great to have back in that one-off, whether he does it or not. And he posted on Twitter like, I think it was more like Amy took a lot of the blame for me retiring, and she just wanted it to be out there that it wasn't her fault. I'm like, I don't know, Junior. I think there's more to it. I think you saw how the car could do, and you want to get out there and drive it. Because they were leading. I mean, like you said, it was a racing incident. What happened? Like an aggressive racing incident. It sucks, but the speed's there in that car. It was obviously showing, so he wants to get out there and take it around.
I just wish you'd keep doing those one-offs in the Xfinity Series. Like the Bristol night race in the fall in the Xfinity Series with Junior doing his one-offs. I mean, that was must-see television for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I agree. I think anytime.
And we got robbed.
He did Martinsville too. Martinsville was good.
Yep.
I mean, I want the thing with Junior is, though, I want you to give him a mic so he can talk to you, the broadcast, regularly from the car. Like, don't just do it like normal drivers. Give Junior a little more.
Call the race from the.
I want him to call the race from the car, like just to give you that type of insight. Like, I know he'd never do it because he takes the racing seriously, but how cool would that be to have that type of look at a race now from someone like Junior? I think that would just be beneficial to everybody.
No, we'd all be super into that. So
yeah.
All right. So I think that's about all we have for the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh no, never mind. You had something that you wanted to talk about the trucks that I just completely blew over, even though it's in bold.
I did kind of talk about it. I wanted to ask you about the Cleetus thing because I've been seeing so many.
Oh, that was that.
That was that. So we got that out of the way. You're good.
Okay, good. So we can move on to our first driver of the week and terrorist of the week awards. If you're new to this program, let me have the utmost joy about telling you just what it is these awards are. So every week, Chris and I pick one driver who we give driver of the week. This was the top-notch driver of the week. Doesn't necessarily have to be the winner. I think we try to mix it up a little bit, try to think outside the box. Maybe not even just the driver of the week. Maybe the spotter did something awesome, or if something cool happened, like when Michael Waltrip dropped the flag at the All-Star race, stuff like that. And then the terrorist of the week is the exact opposite. Think of like Shacked and a Fool. Think of like those kind of awards. You got mossed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're making fun of guys who did stupid things during the race or the weekend or whatever may have you. So let's just get right into it. Let's start with the driver of the week. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way. Chris, who's your first driver of the week?
I touched on this a little bit in my power rankings that I dropped this week.
Ooh.
There were 3 drivers who scored stage points in both stages. There was only one of those 3 that finished in the top 10. Chris Buescher scored stage points in all the stages, started from the rear, and then he finished in the top 10. So, I mean, that's the epitome of a good day at Daytona if you can survive all the wrecks starting in the back and then finish in the top 10. I mean, minus a win, and a top 5, you would want to be right there for a top 10 if you can do that. So I think Chris deserves the driver of the week this week.
I don't hate that one bit. I'm gonna go with Zane Smith winning the stage and finishing P6. That's huge. That's huge for front row. That's huge for him. You know that they're not going to be up there that often, so you got to make most of those opportunities as they can, and he did.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to get some stage points to stage 2, but you get a top 10, damn near top 5 finish out of it. Hats off to the 38 team and Zane Smith.
Yeah.
How about your terrorist of the week? Who is the big terrorist of the week?
I could go a couple ways here. I feel like there's some low-hanging fruit, just with, like I said, Natalie Decker earlier, and then the big one is Riley Herbst. Just making the move he made at the end of the race. Like, whether you said it's aggression or what, or maybe you just, I don't know, like you just took the up from your spotter wrong and just drove up into somebody. I don't care. I've seen all the angles, but I actually have a different one. It's going to be Eric Jones from earlier in the race. Dude straight up just door slam Chase into the outside wall. Don't know how it didn't cause the big one, but like I'm watching the race and watch Chase hit the outside wall, and Eric's the one who door slammed him. So I'm like, nope, we're marking that one down. I'm like, there's probably going to be something better, but like that was just a stupid move. Like you had to
with Riley, I tend to believe Denny's explanation of it, where he was talking about how he gave the push to Reddick, and all of a sudden he's about to push the 9, and he's like, oh shit, like I'm not going to get in trouble for that. So he taps the brake just enough, and he sees that run coming on the outside. He tries to get hit ahead of that, but that brake is just enough for Brad to just be all the way up his rear end and cause that massive wreck at the end. I don't know if it's fair to call him a terrorist for this, but I'm just going to throw a shot out there. Carson Hocevar did not have a good weekend.
No, not at all.
I mean, how many times did he spin out in the Truck Series and the Xfinity race combined? Like so 7,
many.
6?
Yeah, so many. It was like a common occurrence. I'd get up to go to the kitchen. I'm like, Carson Hocevar spinning. Oh, okay. Well then.
He didn't make friends with Cody Ware in the Xfinity race by any means.
No.
And Cody Ware is a known terrorist. He's on the watch list.
On the watch list.
And then in the Cup Series race, he's leading at the white flag. And it's kind of similar to Riley, just a super aggressive jump to the top.
Yep.
Trying to cut off that run from Stenhouse and Eric Jones. And just gets caught up and sent to the infield. I mean, just not a great a certain at least top 5 turned into
nothing.
P19.
Yeah, nothing. Like I think you're showing the blips of potential, right? But you're still seeing those stupid mistakes. Like you said, I see where you're coming from. It's the Daytona 500. You want to win. But at the same time, you could have probably, like you said, got a top 5, top 10 at the very least if you survive the.
And who's to say that you can't come back to first place on a different run? This is a long lap. That's 2.5 miles, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I went into turns 3 and 4 as a Chase Elliott fan thinking, my God, just won the Daytona 500. So, and then got to see the disappointment of that as a Chase Elliott fan. So like you said, it's a long race. I mean, a little less aggression or maybe a little more thoughtful aggression, I guess, might have helped him. But I can see that. I was expecting him to be there. And he was, to be fair. It was just what took him out was probably a dumb move on his part. So.
And then the rest of the weekend just spinning out over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's low-hanging fruit. Natalie Decker. I mean, good God.
I'm not going to go into that right now too much, but I feel like everybody else has kind of hit the nail on the head. Like hearing her rant about the wreck afterwards, like you can't. I've seen the replay. Come on, you had a good while to move and avoid that car that's just drifting up the track. Like, I'm sorry, like you're an embarrassment at this point. Her average,
down to Arca.
I think on DBC they said was like 29th. Her average career. Why are you finishing average less than like 25th?
I'd be willing to bet that there's some bottom feeder Cup Series drivers that
You're probably right.
Like Shane Van Gisbergen's average on ovals is probably higher than that.
You're probably right, but like I think there needs to be this. This is where I got kind of like the Cleetus thing. Like they're like, well, NASCAR licensing should be a little more strict, and I'm like, should it though? Because like, what does it really matter? You're not really going to see any difference. Like, give them a license, but you're going to push the wrong people. Because if someone comes to you and you're like, oh, I've got millions of dollars I want to throw into your sport, but I don't know how to drive a car, you're going to let them. NASCAR's had a history of letting them anyway. They had I can't remember his last name. They had a Raleigh Series driver a couple of years ago who teamed up with Emmitt Smith and was going to start his Xfinity career with Emmitt Smith as a co-owner of his own team, and got his license and did exactly nothing. Was wholly disappointing to the point where he became like a joke in that series near the second half of the season because he just wasn't there.
So much of a joke that you can't remember his name.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can throw it on NASCAR all you want, but when it comes down to it, you have to have talent or at least a little common sense to see a broken race car skidding up the track, in my opinion.
Yeah. So that's probably the last we'll see of Natalie Decker for a while.
Yeah, I would imagine.
For a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit.
All right. What do we have up next? Weekly nonsense, including the two other series news. The only notable truck news that we got is that Ty Dillon is going to the 25 that Smoke ran, and Corey Heim will be in the number one truck.
Yep.
Many
Not
thoughts
really
on
anything
that?
else to note.
Ty Dillon, does he not have a full-time job in the Cup Series?
Yeah, he does. So
he's going to be full-time in trucks and the Cup Series?
No, he's just going to be, I think this is a one-off right now.
A one-off for Atlanta?
Yeah, for their celebrity seat, as they call it, or their special seat, the 25 truck. It's going to be filled by
because Ty Dillon's a celebrity.
Exactly what I said, too, when I heard of it.
Just incredible highlights, ranging from his Mickey Mouse in-season tournament run.
Yeah, like, come on. You could have got somebody else, but, I mean, I think it's just the colic thing there. Like, I feel like a lot of manufacturers are not going to let their drivers just go drive a Ram. So I think they kind of got desperate and were like, oh, we've got Ty Dillon here under contract. We're just going to throw him in the truck, and that'll be fine this week. And we'll see if we can find someone better next week. But
AJ Allmendinger,
yeah.
You got to learn how to drive those Rams.
Yeah.
It's going to be Coda after this. So
I could see it.
Did we just accidentally back into a good take?
The Dinger winning in a Coda truck race, that was not on my bingo card, but I would take it. I would totally take it.
All right. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Fords again are outnumbered. They got two Fords, Nick Sanchez and Luke Fenhouse.
Yeah.
31 Chevys and 6 Toyotas. Why? Why is Ford all of a sudden just not have the bodies anymore?
Yeah, I mean, my speculation to this is there has to be some sort of cost differential there with Ford between like winnings and what it costs to have a competitive car. Because, I mean, you even saw Haas left the Ford camp in the Xfinity Series or the Raleigh Series too. So, I mean, and they were a successful Raleigh team to just
a cool Custom One championship.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I think it has to be something like that, but also their pool of developmental drivers is not very deep.
No.
You go to the Truck Series and you could maybe argue for three of the Ford drivers, and Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski, and then Lane Riggs as a Ford driver.
All fine.
And, yeah, all okay. I mean, it would feel okay if you put them in a seat in the Raleigh Series. Past that, though, I couldn't argue really any other.
Not a lot of teams. Like, there's not a lot of Cup Series representation.
Nope.
From Ford in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Like, RFK doesn't have a car in the Xfinity Series. Roush hasn't gotten that far yet.
Penske doesn't anymore.
Nope. And those are your two big Ford teams. Rick Rare Racing, they can barely afford the 51 they have now. They're selling it, I believe, to Legacy next year or something like that. Yeah,
I mean, you've got it. Gordon's been a big advocate for Hendrick getting back into it. He's like, I think we need to have at least one car in that series, so we have something we can.
That's what they have Corey Day for, right?
Yeah, Corey Day, exactly. They can throw a young guy into, and it's weird to see it because Ford was more of the prominent brand. It was Ford and Chevrolet when I was growing up in the sport, so it's really weird to see them outnumbered by so much. I would like to see Front Row get that spot though. If Ford decides to let's throw some money into this series. Front Row's in the Cup, they're in the trucks. They've been loyal for the most part to Ford since they've joined Ford. Give them some money, and then you can throw guys like Lane Riggs and Tom Majeski into an O'Reilly series car and see how they do. Or you could go out and get something like Colleague and Ram have kind of done. Get a small short track dude and throw him in there and see how he does for you. I think there's potential there, but I don't think that's an improving for Ford. I think it's going to be a common occurrence where there's only 2 or 3 of them in that series for a little while.
All right. That's it for kind of the weekly recap stuff. We can look ahead towards Atlanta, your home track down there in Hampton.
That's it.
The weather, last I checked, looking pretty good for Sunday. The lower series might have some rain affection. Pulling up the Belly Up Sports weather look ahead because we're not sponsored by anything yet. On Saturday, it's going to rain probably from 4 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. Half an inch of rain.
Night race is what you're telling me on Saturday.
One of them might just get outright.
Yeah, probably
canceled. Or postponed to Monday or whatever. Or they push it to they could do a couple of things. But yeah, the forecast is clean and clear on Sunday. A brisk 57 degrees with some winds. So 2 races in a row with high speed winds at super speedways. So that should be super, super duper interesting.
Sure.
Yeah. So what do we have here as far as what we need to get on to expectations? Well, Atlanta is probably the most entertaining super speedway track that they got going right now.
Oh yeah,
it's tight and compact. It's high speeds for sure. You've had a couple of the really good finishes the last couple of years down there with Bowman pushing Elliott to the win, getting past Keselowski last summer. Obviously, you had the 3 wide finish between Suarez, Rowdy, and Blaney. I think it was Rowdy that was the third car there. Obviously, Kyle Busch has won 2 of the last couple of races in the truck series down there. That's the only places he's been able to get wins lately. Yeah, I like Atlanta as a track. I think it's wonderful what they did to that track. Should they do it to more tracks? I don't know. Texas is needing a revamp. Do you want to give that the Atlanta treatment? I don't know.
Does it become too much then at that point?
Yeah, are you oversaturating the super speedway market? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sport definitely runs well on intermediates. Definitely need some more of those. But yeah, that's your home track, Chris. What are you thinking?
I love Atlanta races. I like them more with this configuration because they're not just the typical tire wear, fuel mileage type of intermediate anymore. Not to say that they would be with this new car, but that's what a lot of the old car gave you at Atlanta. Manage your tires, watch your fuel. A lot of times it would become a boring and kind of monotonous race to watch. So I'm excited. I think I'm with Junior. This could arguably be one of the hottest tickets on the schedule, just looking purely at the race product you get. I think as long as the weather's clear, I'd like it to be just a little warmer because I think the track, they slide around a little more on that track when it's hotter. But I think overall Atlanta, like you said, is going to produce again. We've had a bunch of good finishes there recently. We had, last year with the Chase and Bowman, you had the 3 wide. And there was almost another one that was just called with, I believe, Hocevar and Seabell and them.
Yeah, Hocevar, Seabell, and Larson. Yeah.
Yeah. Would have been another 3 wide finish at the start finish line had the caution not come out. Probably.
And then the first one, it was kind of a snore.
Yeah.
But Keselowski and Logano in spring of 23, they finished within half a second of each other.
It's been really good racing. I think if you're a fan, if you're a new fan, especially, and you want something that's exciting, I think this is early in the season. If you missed the Daytona 500 for some reason, would be a perfect thing to jump into because it's going to be a really action-packed race, and I think those packs just look a little cooler too on the small track. So it gets a little underwhelming in a sense, seeing them run 3 wide around Daytona for 50 laps, because you can kind of be
4
like,
wide at Talladega for 103 laps.
exactly, like, come on. Like, those tracks are big and wide. Atlanta's not made for that, yet they do it anyway. They've made it for that now, and it's exhilarating product to watch.
All right, let's get into DraftKings, the official sports book of this podcast. Not that we're sponsored.
No.
If
We'd like
FanDuel
to
wants to cut us a check, or BetMGM wants to cut us a check, we'll listen.
Gladly. We'll put that branding wherever you need it to.
Yeah, we'll give Chris a hat and he'll wear it.
That's right. You can count on that always.
That forehead is for sale.
That's it. We can cover it for sure. Like Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights, we'll just put the Fig Newton sticker like right here if we have to.
Yeah, for sure. Right on the windshield.
That's right. Right on the windshield.
But we have some matchups this week, Chris. We have some groups and we have some fun parlays.
I'm excited, sir. I like it when we got stuff to talk about. Parlays.
This is your official betting guide, so let's get right into it. McDowell versus Zane Smith. McDowell is the leader, minus 175.
I'm going to give that to McDowell just because he's pretty good at this type of racing. Like, I think I saw some crazy stat. He ran like 160 laps almost average on a tank of fuel at Daytona somehow. He just knows how to race in the pack, I guess. So I'll give it to McDowell.
No, I'm right there with you. Although, like I said, I gave Zane Smith my driver of the week for a good reason. Like, he showed out there at Daytona. I think Atlanta's just kind of a different beast. Reddick versus Elliott. Reddick going for back-to-back.
No.
Chase Elliott, obviously the heavy favorite. Won here in the fall last year. He's won here. I think he won the first race here on the repave, didn't he?
Yeah.
Back in 2022.
Yep.
Elliott minus 160. I think you got to take Elliott.
Yeah, money's not exactly winning there tons, but I like Elliott. It's a better choice. I just don't see Reddick going back-to-back.
I'm not sure who the hell put this prop in here, but whatever. Riley Herbst versus Brad Keselowski.
What? That's a little disrespectful, I feel like, to Riley Herbst, or even to Brad Keselowski, if you want to be honest. Yeah, give me Brad all day long.
I haven't seen Riley Herbst do anything besides that Daytona race in my life.
No, me neither. Like, he had a few decent O'Reilly series races, but nothing even to where I would put him above Brad Keselowski on a track like Atlanta.
And then Hocevar versus Buescher. I'll take Buescher.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Buescher.
Hard to trust Hocevar week to week.
It really is, and more so on this type of racing track. We touched on it a little bit ago. He's making the aggressive moves without putting much thought behind them. I feel like he's just doing them. So.
All right, and then we got 4 groups. Group A, all plus 245 besides one. Blaney, Logano, Elliott, and then Byron plus 285.
Dang. All the big hitters right there, I feel like, in one group.
I'll take Blaney. Like, just that Penske power on these super speedways. Like,
yeah, I could go with that. I'm going to, not surprisingly, go with Chase because of his history, but Blaney would probably be my second option there. Right.
Don't skip on Logano. And Byron's won here too. Sure, it was a rain-shortened race, but all worthy names. They're all going to be probably in that top 10 if they don't bracket.
I would be willing to put money on that.
Group B, as it refreshes to take me out of it. Austin Cindric, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe.
Sleeper pick there because you touched on it, Austin Cindric, but I think
he's the favorite.
Probably is he really?
Briscoe is the furthest odds. Him and Denny both 285. C-Bell plus 235.
Give me Briscoe. I don't know why. I don't really have much process behind that thought, but
listen, he's kind of turning into one of the better all-around drivers in the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why. I feel like he probably would have finished better at Daytona had he not got caught up in that wreck that took out like 90% of the Toyota field. Mm-hmm. I think he probably would have finished at Daytona. So, yeah, just give me Briscoe on that one.
Group C, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski. Ross Chastain and Chris Buescher.
Ooh,
Buescher
give me
plus
Buescher.
285. Give me that. Give me that all day.
Yeah, all day.
And then lastly, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Alex Bowman, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell.
I think
I'll take McDowell again. Long odds.
Yeah, long odds. What are
I think you
Stenhouse?
could bet straight up long odds and feel pretty comfortable. Byron, Briscoe, Buescher, McDowell.
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, I think that's this type of racing. It's so unpredictable in a sense. So yeah, I think you could go a little more long shot there and be just fine.
But listen, I mean, feel free to mix it up. If you want to put money on Alex Bowman to finish better than Stenhouse, Preece, and McDowell, more fucking power to you.
Yeah, more power to you. Not to say he can't, because Alex tends to do that when you don't expect it. He comes out and he just top 5 competition style.
Oh, they got rid of all the fun parlays.
Oh,
that's why it was refreshing. They didn't want us to get to that.
Jerks.
Seriously,
take all the fun out of it.
Seriously, just taking it away. What are you gonna do?
Away. I might have them here on my phone. Look at that. Chris could take it over here.
Oh.
Actually, no, I can't, because same thing. They didn't leave any of the fun ones.
False
all they've left you
is Reddick and Elliott.
Yep, Reddick and Elliott. Like, I feel like the Reddick one's more of a long shot. I mean, much like his boss MJ often did, Reddick's going to go back-to-back and win at Atlanta. Plus 2,000 are the odds on that.
I don't hate that, but
those odds are nice.
If you're a guy who just wants to throw $10 here, $5 there, $10 there, more power to you.
You might as well. I mean, that he proved that he could be competitive in a sense. Now, the Chase Elliott one's more of a shoo-in. I don't know that he does win ultimately, but
plus 900. I mean,
yeah, plus 900. Chase Elliott to win in Atlanta. I mean,
him and Blaney are favorites at plus 900.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw some money on that one. And again, if I'm just one of those guys who's throwing $5, $10, dollars here and there, I'd probably put some on the Reddick one just because the odds are so nice.
Yeah. But all right, let's get down to business. I won last week's Eliminator. I had Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He finished second. You picked Kyle Busch. He finished 15th.
Well,
so 1-0.
I expected him to.
1-0. And just to remind you of the rules, I can't pick Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again, and he can't pick Kyle Busch again. So we gotta go figure out this whole new field. Since I won, I will defer. You pick first.
This is a guy I don't feel like I'm gonna use again unless it was at this track. So give me Daniel Suarez.
Fuck. Damn it. Good pick.
Let's go ahead and get him out of the way. Take him off the list so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
So I guess I'll save him for Sonoma. Okay, Atlanta. Who do I want to take for that as we get into some driver averages here, just to see who's performed well at Atlanta over the last handful of years? Echo Park, as they call it.
Daniel's riding a little momentum too. He was one of those other 3 dudes who scored stage points in both stages. He didn't finish top 10, but he's had a good points day at Daytona. So
Kyle Busch since July 2023, 5th, 3rd, 7th, 7th, 21st. AJ Allmendinger, not bad here.
That one always gets me too, because this isn't a track you would expect AJ to be good at, in my opinion, anyway.
But I'm kind of like you. I kind of want to save my good guys. And I say that as I'm about to take a 2-time Cup Series champion. Give me Kyle Busch.
Yeah, might as well.
Like, I went into this, like, I didn't take him at Daytona because, 1, you took him, and 2, I was like, I wanted to save him for somewhere else. I wanted to kick that can down the road, and this is one of the only tracks he's really good at. They don't show up. The RCR doesn't show up for Kyle Busch at any other track. On this one, he has an 8.8 finish in the next gen era.
It would have been this one. If I wouldn't have picked him last week, it was this one. And I'm not even confident, but I would have probably either went Vegas the first trip.
Or Coda.
just because those are Vegas is like Kyle's. Obviously, it's his home track. He just knows how to race that track. And then Coda again, RCR somehow brings weird speed to tracks you don't expect. So yeah, as long as Austin Hill doesn't ruin the O'Reilly Series race again this weekend and win, I think it'll be an okay weekend overall.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's our 2 picks. I went with Kyle Busch. You went with Daniel Suarez. And then as far as the other RCR car, I think we're both just gonna wait and see who's picking first at Richmond for the other one.
Yeah. That one might be a one-off, just here out of nowhere type of picks, because I don't feel very confident about the other Richard Childress cars at any other track.
But those are the Eliminator picks. We got this done in about 45 minutes or so. Any last thoughts, parting words, things you didn't get to that you really want to touch on?
No, I mean, I think you should pay attention to front row this weekend. Just something about front row is, I've looked at stats and things this weekend. While they don't glare off the map, like, it's something about a front row driver winning, maybe not, but I feel like they're going to be very involved in the contention for that win near the end. So keep an eye on front row. I will be myself, because I've been pretty high on them. Check out my power rankings too, because there's some guys on there that probably should be that fell off, and then some who may not be as deserving that probably won't be on there next week. So other than that, nothing really.
I got a question for you before we sign off. Just a thought that we can kind of delve into, because we still got a little bit of time to kill. I can hold on to you for another 5-10 minutes. Obviously this is a new era for NASCAR. We didn't talk about Tyler Reddick punching his ticket to the playoffs after Daytona.
Yeah.
He won the Daytona 500. That was it. We're on to a new race. The point standings are out. And this has been on my mind for a little bit in the immediate aftermath of the Daytona 500. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on it. When do you think guys will be worried about their standings in the points? Obviously, the week after Daytona, the Super Speedway race, they're not going to be super duper concerned.
Yeah.
Even after Atlanta, I don't think guys are going to be sweating bullets.
No.
But at what point, if you're Bubba Wallace, say, and you're minus 50 to the good, are you panicking? Like, when do you panic?
When do you panic? That's tough. I'd say maybe you start to panic midsummer, depending on that deficit. That's really dependent on the deficit, right? If you're one of those guys who's close, I think you're going to panic all summer up to the cut, right? Like, any bad race is probably going to put you, or any mediocre race is going to put you into that panic mode. But I don't think it's going to be as drawn out or maybe emphasized as much as it has in the past. I think you're going to have a pretty solid idea when it comes to that final race before the chase, who your field is. You might have one or two guys. Two might even be a stretch. You might have one guy there at the end that's kind of tight, and it could be determining whether him or another guy gets in. But midsummer would be kind of where I would start to panic if my guy's not been at least somewhat consistent. Like, if he's just had a rough first half of the season, I would think.
So you're not worried if you're minus 50. Let's just say that you're minus 50 to P16.
Yeah, no, not at that point.
You're gonna get through Atlanta. You're gonna get through Coda, Phoenix, Vegas, and then you have the spring race at Darlington, Martinsville. That's just March.
I think you evaluate. I think you've got a good stretch of tracks there too. You could use March, that stretch of races to really evaluate how you feel about things. I don't know that it'd be panic mode that early for me, because it is just March. We've got till November. And you've got a long season ahead of you, but that would be a really good stretch of races to put it all on the table early, see what you have, and then if it's not good on one of those tracks, then you know where you need to kind of improve in preparation.
To me, if you're minus 50 after the first Talladega race, the last weekend of April, I'm starting to be concerned.
Okay.
That's me, because it's it's going to be difficult to make up points on a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
Like the top 16, like it's not a weak field.
No.
Like Chris Buescher and Alex Bowman can now kind of be considered automatic for those last couple spots if they finish how they should.
Right.
Then those are guys who are always on the bubble. Bubba Wallace, guy who's usually always on the bubble. Now you can kind of confidently say he'll probably be in that top 16 in points. Keselowski, Preece, just it's a stacked bottom half the card.
Yeah, I mean, you could go
like if you're Noah Gragson and you're minus 100 after that Talladega race. I mean, you got to be shivering.
Yeah, just a little bit. I feel like that's after that Talladega race to be that far down. I think anything maybe less than 40. Yeah, I'd say 40 points, maybe 30. You feel okay enough that you could have one of those guys ahead of you have a bad race. You could be consistent. But if you're at 50 and more, it's really going to be hard, like you said, to make those points up. Like I could get down to it. And like I said, maybe, start of summer, midsummer, kind of after that all-star break, depending on where you at deficit-wise, panicking then. But you really need to evaluate yourself if you're that far behind after Talladega. Like there needs to be some pretty strong changes in order for your season to at least finish somewhat successful. You may not win a championship, but it's still the same process. Getting in the chase makes a difference for some of these
I think
teams.
For guys who are like comfortably in the chase, like those top 3 guys, I don't think they're scoreboard watching until closer to the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Like your Kyle Larsons, your William Byrons, your Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Briscoe, all your top-notch guys, Blaney. I don't think they're going to be scoreboard watching until probably around that point that you're talking about, that mid-August, right before the cutoff.
Yeah.
Loudon, Daytona, Richmond, I think, is in there as well.
They want as much of a buffer as they can have going into the chase.
This first place gets such a big advantage.
Yep.
From second and third, all that.
See some moves that
guys at the bottom, I think they got to start worrying early.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some. For you too, being the playoff fan, like when you came into the sport, being so in tune to the playoffs.
Yeah, this is new.
This will be new. So you're going to see some things different, I feel like the aggression from some of those top guys, whereas they've been maybe a little more laid back here and there. They're just able to coast a little bit. Once they get down to that second half of the season, because you mentioned it, that difference or that advantage that first place has, a lot of those big name guys are maybe going to start making some aggressive moves that you wouldn't expect or that you haven't seen. So that's what's really going to be something to watch. The points battles down near the bottom, how many are you going to have again? You could argue 2, 3 from year to year in the playoffs we're going to be battling for points just because of the winning you're in. I'm with you. I feel like maybe 15 out of the 16 spots are pretty solid drivers. Like it's going to be really hard for you to argue that 15 out of the 16 there are not going to be there. You maybe have one spot at the end that's going to be a really top points battle, I feel like.
Figured I'd throw that out there.
I like it, sir.
Alrighty, well, that is Short Pit for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for continuing to watch. We had another great views day last week with about 73.
We appreciate it.
Yep, and all the reels are getting a lot of interactions. We love that.
Yes.
Love the support. Keep it up. Keep telling us what you want to hear, what you think. We like to interact with your comments. We try to keep active. And we'll go from there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all after Atlanta and we get in Dakota. Have a great weekend.